and welcome back to Influence, a show all about the College of Ag and Life Sciences. I'm your host, Lacey Gordon. Here with me today is Executive Vice President and President of Nutrien Ag Solutions, Jeff Tarsi. Jeff, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Lacey, and I'm delighted to be here with you this morning, and I'm also delighted to be back on our fabulous campus here at Mississippi State University.
Great. Well, we're so glad to have you, Jeff. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do for Nutrien and all that?
Sure, and I'll try not to make that too long-winded of a question. I serve today as an Executive Vice President and President of Nutrien Ag Solutions, and so I get the wonderful opportunity to lead about 20,000 of our teammates within what we call the input sector of our business. So we're a total solutions provider to growers all over the globe. And I get the luxury of working with our global producers in the United States, Canada, Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, Chile, and Australia. And so a lot to say and a lot to do in a 24-hour period of time each and every day.
Oh, that is just awesome. And I know Nutrien has had tons of growth throughout the last years and few months. Can you describe a little bit along the lines of that, you know, why you think we're seeing growth in that, and is there growth coming in the agriculture industry?
Well, I think, you know, agriculture is obviously a staple to any economy. And when we look today, we've got roughly 8 billion people on this planet, and we know by 2050 that we'll have 10 billion people. And we also know that the available land and resources to produce the food to feed this 10 billion people is eroding. And so that's what gives us so much purpose in our business, and that we're waking up every day with the purpose of feeding the future. And, you know, the last time I checked, most people eat on a daily basis, and at least they hope to eat on a daily basis. And so what we do, and more importantly, what our customers do, is so integral to the food supply and food security lines. And then if you just look over the last several years, there have been so many things, you know, starting with COVID, supply chain disruptions, the horrific war in the Ukraine, and weather-related issues that have disrupted a lot of that. And so what we've had to do is be extremely flexible and ensuring that our producers have all of the goods and services that they need to be able to produce a crop to feed this growing population.
You're exactly right. I mean, all of that. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got to this position, where you're from, and just how you got to be the Executive Vice President and President of Nutrien?
Well, it's, I tell you what, it started, I grew up in the Mississippi Delta, Cleveland, Mississippi, and I came from extremely hard-working grandparents and parents of Italian descent, and we farmed as well, and I loved farming. And when I got out of high school, my mother, who was an educator all of her life, really pushed me. If it had been up to me, I would have just stayed on the farm. And she really pushed me to get over to Mississippi State, and I come from a very deep Mississippi State family. And I got here in agriculture and got into agricultural economics, and it just opened a new world for me. My world was 15 miles in any direction of our farm headquarters before I got here. And it opened up a new world to me, opened up different problems and solutions and such. And then when I graduated in 1985, things were really bad in the agricultural economy. And I started a job with BASF, worked about 12 years with them before I joined the retail side of the business and input side of the business. And so I always said that I did the next best thing to farming. And that's, you know, working in the input side of the business, the discovery side of the business, and science with it. And I can tell you this, as far as how I got to where I am today, and I don't think about that a lot, I got there because I was rooted from my family and hard work. I got a tremendous education from Mississippi State, and I tell people this all the time. I don't think people realize how many leaders in agricultural industry came through Mississippi State. And it's a great tribute to the university and to the program. And then once I got out, I had accessible to me a lot of training and a lot of personal development with the companies I worked with. BASF did a wonderful job. The company I'm with today invested a lot in me. And now today I'm able to give back by those investments. And I hope every day that, I'm leading our people with integrity. Our number one priority is safety for our people. I hope that I'm leading them in the ways of inclusiveness. And obviously we have to produce results as well from that standpoint. But just a really, really good foundation between family and education.
Jeff, that's just awesome to hear. You have made quite the mark on the industry as a whole, and your hard work coming from your parents is very evident in your work today, and you just do incredible things. But you mentioned when you were talking the importance of giving back, and that's so true. Nutrien and yourself do a great job of investing back in Mississippi State University and investing in our College of Ag and Life Science students. How does investing in our students like that, what does that mean to you?
Well, first of all, it means a lot to me, and again, I think it means a lot to our employees, my teammates. It means a lot to our customers as well when companies take part of what they earn and put back into communities. When you talk about agriculture, you're talking about communities, not suburban areas. And I work with a company today, Nutrien, that really believes in giving back into the communities, into the educational bases like Mississippi State, land-grant universities and such. And what that does for us is it ensures a pipeline for our future growth. Look, I'm at the, I'm probably in the short rows of my career, and before I leave, I want to make sure that I leave my mark, that we have this company in great position for the next 25 years out, and that we've got a great resource to tap in for future employees. And I'm going to take an opportunity to say this, in that I want to attract more females into our business. If I had to grade myself today, and I would grade myself hard in that area, is that I haven't done enough to please myself in that area. And I think agriculture creates a wonderful opportunities for females, and I want to do a better job, and our company wants to do a better job of investing and attracting females to our business. And I'll also mention that, look, things are tough in Mississippi. We have areas where not every kid has a good solid meal every day, and I've worked hard to make sure that we put contributions in the right place for those services that provide food, lunches, breakfasts, those types of things. When we had the terrible tornado that hit Rolling Fork, within 24 hours we had made contributions into that area. I don't say that in a bragging way. I say that in a way that we feel like it's our obligation to invest back in those communities and universities like Mississippi State.
That's incredible to hear that, all of that, and y'all do so much for Mississippi State and the communities and all that. But what I'm really impressed with is you grading yourself on saying you would like to attract more females to agriculture. I'm hoping that's a trend that's going to catch on soon. We do need more females in the industry. And I also wanted to thank y'all. Y'all host a good many of our students for internships through Nutrien, and they learn so many things from that. And it's a great experience for them while they're still getting their education. Can you tell me a few things that maybe some advice to students, or some things you like students to have when they're coming for internships or fresh out of college you want them to have?
Sure, and look, we run internships across the country and across the globe, and they're great opportunities for us to get a chance to expose these kids to what the business is like. It's also a great opportunity for us to get a look and see, who does really well, what are some areas that they need to sharpen up in and such. And when I look at it today, so my advice for young people is number one, no later than after your sophomore year, you need to be looking for an internship, okay? You need to find a company, and you need to expose yourself to that company and what your credentials are and such. I think that you should be extremely open. Don't be specific. I want to work in this specific area. I want to work in this geography. Drop that, okay? And be open. this is a global world today. It's not a local world from that standpoint. And so you need to be able, and then the last thing I'll talk about is be an absolute sponge to technology and innovation. That is the future of the next 20 years in this business. It's greatly different than when I left in '85. So what we defined technology and innovation in 1985 and what we define it in 2023 is vastly different. It's systems, it's algorithms, it's the quickness of being able to gather and access data and build solutions off of that. And so when I look at young people coming into the business, they're our hope for innovation and technology. And so for those that are in school over here right now, that's the one area that they've got to take extremely, extremely serious, because again, we're competing again on a global basis. So our producers here are competing against producers in many other regions of the world. And I get the benefit of traveling those regions. And I see how fast those regions are adapting to technology and innovation. So it's key for us. It's key for us as well.
That's very true. We try to instill that into our students about the technology and stuff, because that's completely changed the industry lately, you know, and we're trying to instill that in our students younger, or, you know, throughout their whole 4 years of college or their master's, just so when they get out into the workforce that they're ready to go. Switching gears on you a little bit, you said you grew up a state band and all that. Can you tell me your top Mississippi State memory, whether that be sports or in school or anything like that, your favorite MSU memory?
Well, I'm going to mention a couple, and it's ironic that probably two of them relate to baseball. I can remember sitting with my father, who's deceased today, at the regional baseball game when Burke Masters hit the grand slam. My oldest daughter, Elizabeth, was a baby.
Yeah.
And I had her in my arms, and the roar in that stadium, Elizabeth never got upset by anything as a child. The roar in that stadium that night absolutely terrified her. And that's a memory that I've had, you know, for years and years and years. And then obviously, who could not have a great memory? I was in Omaha when we won the national championship. And that was a fantastic memory. But look, I got to participate with my father at the Final Four in basketball in Secaucus, New Jersey. And then there have been many memories with football. Sports at Mississippi State has been a family event for my family. And it is this weekend as well.
Yeah.
And so we cherish those events. I put 2 kids through Mississippi State. I have my 3rd coming this fall. So I'm going to retire batting 1,000 on my kids as far as attending Mississippi State. And my 2 that have already graduated have married Mississippi State graduates as well. So we're a Mississippi State family, and we're awfully proud of that.
That is awesome, Jeff. Well, we love to hear that, and I want to thank you and Nutrien for all that you do for Mississippi State University, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching Influence. I hope you join us next time.